It's time to get inspired today. Today we're going to be creating a self-watering bottle out of a wine bottle. We'll be using etching to accomplish this project. So glad you're here with me today.
Hello crafters! Today we're going to do some upcycling with wine bottles or any type of bottle that you have at your house. I did one earlier today and this is a wine bottle, and what we're going to do is we are going to make a self-watering etched wine bottle. So where I use these is out in my planter boxes. You see these in a lot of nurseries, and you know they're a little spendy. So you can take your wine bottle, put a decal on it, and put this in your planter box, and you're ready to go. So what we need today to get that done is a bottle. Now I'm going to try a clear bottle this time. The one I showed you just earlier was a green bottle, but let's try a clear one. So I'm going to need a wine bottle, which I have. Technically, this is not a wine bottle. This was a vodka bottle, but it all works. And then we are going to need a decal. And so you can't see it right now, but as soon as I start weeding, this has got a sunflower on it. It's really pretty. And then we are going to need our etching cream. And I like Etched. Armor Etch is another really popular brand. I just got introduced to Etched and I really like it. It's also reusable, which I think is really great. I'm also going to use my trusty weeding pen, which is a pen, and I got this from 651 Vinyl, which is where I get all of my vinyl from. Of course, we're going to need a paintbrush. We are going to need some transfer tape. And then I've also got this little tool from Cricut that I like to use also. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is we are going to weed the design that I have here. And what I like to do before I start weeding is take the little tool and just really press down on the vinyl. This really helps to make sure that it's adhered really well. It also takes out all the bumps. Now, the one thing you want to make sure that we do here is we only want the sunflower to show on our bottle. And so because of that, we are going to do what we call a reverse weed. So when I put this in my Cricut to do the design, I did a box on my Cricut, and then what I did is I put the design with the box and I attached them. And so basically what I'm doing is the box is going to be only used as a guide point on the bottle. So I'll kind of explain it to you or show it to you once I do it. It's kind of hard to explain. But when you're doing a reverse weed, what we want to do is we want to take out the outline of the flower. And so you guys will now be able to see my sunflower that I have, and see how I only have the outline out. I still have the box here, and when we put this onto our bottle, the etching cream will go all where the white is. Okay, so I always reuse my transfer tape, and so I'm grabbing a piece of transfer tape here, and I'm going to put that right on the sunflower. And I always like to make sure it's on there really good. As you guys can see, I don't have the transfer tape covering the whole design, and that's fine. It will all come off. I like to pull mine from the back. I just feel that find that it pulls easier. And then just very carefully pull back the paper, making sure it's all adhered, and it is. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our bottle. Now keep in mind on your bottle that this is a watering bottle that's going to go in your planter box. So it's going to be upside down, right? So you want your design to be more at the top. And I like to kind of fold mine just a little bit just to crease it, because what we want to do is press down on the center of your design, okay, and then work our way out, just very slowly, because you don't want bubbles, okay? So as we go very, very slowly, and bubbles in our transfer paper is fine. It's the bubbles on the actual decal or the vinyl that we don't want, okay? So I'm gonna just spread that all out nice, okay? Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull back our transfer paper. Okay, and you can see we have our design. Now I've got some bubbles up here, and I'm not worried about those. I just really, really want to make sure that there are no bubbles going around my design. And it looks really good right now. Light is adding, maybe that's a little bit easier for you guys to see. See how that is nice and clear on there, okay? So what I need now is I'm gonna take my little cup, and I like to put my cream into a cup. It's easier than having to be inside my big jar all the time. Okay, so you want to make sure that you really coat this good. Okay, so we're going to really get a lot of the etching cream on and just cake it on. Okay, don't be shy. If you see any bubbles, like I got a little tiny bubble there, before I put etching cream on, I'm just going to make sure that I check for any more bubbles, and I am just going to cake this. I always say this looks like butterscotch pudding. Definitely do not want to eat it, but that's just what it reminds me of. So I'm going to put this all over here, and I'm really going to cake it good. Get every bit of etching cream on there. Okay, you can kind of see, I'm really making sure I don't want to see any of that glass coming through. And that etching cream, we're going to let it sit for about 15 minutes, and it basically just eats away at the glass. It's just amazing what you can do for this. I've done etching on wine glasses before. It's fun to do on vases, and you know, no matter what you're doing, it's the same technique. So it's just up to your imagination as to what you can etch. And I'm just moving it around a little bit. I could get more out of my jar if I needed to, but I think I got it pretty well covered. Okay, so as you can see, I've got it nice and covered. Okay, might be a little spot right there that I could pick up, but pretty well got it covered. So it's just really caked on there good. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna set the timer for about 15 minutes. And I like to brace mine up. I don't like to set my bottles upright because the etching cream shouldn't run, but there's always a chance that it could. So I kind of like to leave it in an area it's not going to be disturbed. I put my ruler here just to give it so it doesn't roll. So the last thing you want to do is to have it roll. And we'll let that sit for 15 minutes, and then we will come back and do the next steps. Okay, so our 15 minutes are up, and we are going to remove the etchol from the cup, and I like to just use my same sponge brush, no reason not to use it, and go ahead and just put it back in the cup. And I try to get off as much as possible because our next step is going to be actually taking it to the sink and rinsing it all off. So just try to get it all off again. Like I say, it's reusable. anytime you can save money crafting, it's always a great thing. And so just try to get all of that off. And then I like to put it right back into my Etched as soon as I'm done, so it's not sitting out. And just do that, get that all done, tighten my lid. I stock up on these rubber brushes because they're totally disposable, so in the garbage those two things will go. And I'm gonna pause the camera for a minute and join you back at my kitchen sink. Okay, so here we are at my kitchen sink, and I like to start my water just a little bit lukewarm, just easier to deal with. And I'm just going to take the bottle, and we're literally just going to rinse it all off. And once it's rinsed off, while I'm still under the water, I think sometimes it's just a little easier. Get it all started, and we're going to start removing. Now, sometimes I like to use my DigiPin. Sorry, just trying to play with camera there a little bit, you guys. Use my DigiPin to get up all those pieces. And you guys can start to see that we've got a sunflower. I always say this is when the magic is revealed on the etching. Just get that all off and turn the water off. When we're done, we will rinse it off and dry it, and you'll be able to see it a little bit better. So, oops. Takes just a few minutes to get all of this off. The pen definitely helps using it because and then these little, sometimes if I just start the little circles a little bit, and then I'll turn the water back on and they'll rinse right off. So I got everything moved there. Got one that's being a little stubborn. Okay, I'm going to grab a paper towel here, and we're going to dry off our bottle, and we have got a sunflower done on our wine bottle. So, now, you could easily add more if you wanted designs going all the way around. Exact same process you would just do. So what my next step would be is to fill this up with water, and then I would take it and put it in my planter box. So thanks so much for joining me today on this funstuffcrafts.com project. Thanks.